This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I've been meaning to cover this for quite some time. It's always been on my list of things to do, to cover. I haven't covered as many symbols lately as I wanted to, but that is the symbol of the rose. Now, before I get into what the rose symbolizes and means to the occult, to the cabal, realize that if you have a rose garden at your house, or say somebody buys you roses, or say, not that I know any, you're a fan of the show The Bachelor, wink wink, that does not mean that you're occultic or satanic. Showing these symbols is for you to see them and what they mean, and the origin of the meaning of these symbols being repetitively shown to you over and over. It does not mean, if you buy your loved one roses, that you are a devil worshiper, or a Satanist, or somebody who practices Jewish Kabbalah. I just want to make that clear, because when I reveal these symbols, a lot of the times people can't process it and they say it's crazy because they have an attachment to the symbol. It doesn't mean if you randomly have something in your home that has a pyramid on it that you may have purchased, that you're a devil worshiper. I'm showing you why they're repetitively showing you these symbols on television and music videos all over the mainstream. The hand symbols, all of this stuff does not make you a Satanist because you might randomly have one of these symbols on something inside of your house, but you should be aware of it. Because a lot of people just go through life in an alpha state of mind. When they see these music videos, when they see these shows, they don't realize what the symbol really means and that they're being indoctrinated with these symbols, that the occult is exposing itself right in front of our faces. They can see the messages and the meanings behind these videos, but we can't. But that's changing now because people are waking up. God is opening people's eyes. So the rose, which is a common flower that we see all the time, it represents Rosicrucianism. That's what it represents. Now, that is a cultural movement which arose in Europe in the early 17th century. And for the long story short, it was an esoteric order to the world and made seeking its knowledge attractive to many. The mysterious doctrine of the order is allegedly built on esoteric truths of the ancient past, which concealed from the average man provide insight into nature, the physical universe, and the spiritual realm. The manifestos do not elaborate extensively on the matter, but clearly combine references to the Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism, as well as mystical Christianity, which is New Age Christianity. Now, the places where you'll see this common with Rosicrucian manifestos are Freemasonry. What a surprise, right? Very influential in Freemasonry in Scotland. Very influential to satanic groups which included people like Aleister Crowley, groups which should be burned off the face of the earth, but unfortunately, groups such as the Golden Dawn, which embrace this, go hidden through society. People never hear about the Golden Dawn or the OTO. They never hear about any of these cults because they're told to believe that they're not real. Now, what Rosicrucian enlightenment is it's the same stuff that we cover with all these symbols, right? We talk about the Illuminati, how they believe that they're the enlightened ones. How they have this hidden knowledge, that they're gods amongst us. And it involves using Jewish mysticism. The Freemasons teach this. This is influential in Freemasonry teaching. And anytime you hear the word esoteric societies, which have claimed to derive from the original Rosicrucians. You should know what this is about. These people believing that they're gods amongst us, that they have the hidden knowledge, that Lucifer is the light bearer. That is what it means to them. And we see this same doctrine in New Age Christianity, mystical Christianity, esoteric Christianity. The rose, when we see it on TV, when it's used in music videos, which is always used, and even these occultists who believe, now this is just one of their beliefs from their teachings, but they believe too that when Jesus was crucified on the cross, his blood dripped down onto white roses, turning them red with his blood, and that is why the red rose is so symbolic to them. This is in a lot of their esoteric teachings, that it's in power, there's more power through the red rose. But you'll see in a lot of videos, white roses turning to red roses, from white to red. But the rose in general, this is what it symbolizes. It symbolizes the Rosicrucian manifestos, the documents that they studied, which did nothing but teach esoteric crap, the same Enlightenment nonsense, which all at the end of the day, no matter how deep you want to get into reading, the fine lines between all the teachings of Rosicrucianism and all these other secret societies, it all ends up teaching the same thing. It all goes back to Lucifer. It all goes back to the same secret societies following the same doctrines, which teach that they're the enlightened ones, that they have this hidden knowledge that we don't have. Well, guess what? That knowledge isn't hidden anymore. And those of us who are awake and aware, we don't want your hidden knowledge because it's crap. We have the real knowledge, but it's not hidden. And that's that Jesus Christ is King, that salvation can only be obtained through him, not through this stupid esoteric enlightenment movement. But all of these secret societies, not just Masonry, like I mentioned, which it's just deep rooted and really just built off of, Freemasonry's built off of Rosicrucianism, but these other satanic societies, like I mentioned, are built off of it as well. The Golden Dawn, the OTO, and then we see modern groups today, even in Christian churches, which teach very similar things. Esoteric balance in the universe, universal teachings, New Age love garbage, nonsense. So that is why you see the rose used all the time in music videos, in movies, in shows. Listen, nothing to do, it's not these people getting together going, let's make it roses because roses are the prettiest flower. Even if the rose is your favorite flower, even if you think, hey, I disagree, it's the nicest flower out there. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. That's not why they're using it. All of this stuff that we see, the symbolism in music videos, in shows, in movies, it's all strategically planned there. The directors, the producers, they're all brought up through these secret societies. They know what these symbols mean. They deliberately put them there. These people go and watch one another's movies. They understand the message. They understand the meaning. And most people go through these films, they don't even know what they're watching. They watch these music videos and they don't even know what they just watched. They go, oh, interesting. They can't decode it because they refuse to believe that these people speak in symbols and communicate in symbols. But it shouldn't surprise anybody that this symbol goes back to Freemasonry and the Kabbalah, because that's where magic and black magic goes back to, the Jewish Kabbalah, the Talmud, which people don't want to talk about, never talk about. You're not allowed to talk about it. And that's why they're covered and protected, so that you can't question the fact that they're practicing black magic and pretending that they're not. Pretending that they're practicing the Torah when they're not. It's all hidden. But really, it's all in plain sight. Because now you have the opportunity to find these things out and see these things for what they truly are. You could see how the world is being played, how they're pushing this type of stuff even through the Christian churches. With mystical Christianity, New Age Christianity, they're pushing the same teachings that go back to Rosicrucianism, the same teachings which go back through Freemasonry, in a sense, through the New Age, which is the Enlightenment movement, which is the New Age. So be aware of these things. And when you see roses popping up all the time, understand that sometimes maybe the rose has a different meaning. But most of the time, just like when we see the pyramids, the all-seeing eyes, the cubes, Saturn's cube, we see all this stuff. It's not just because they love these shapes and they love the pentagrams and the stars that we always see everywhere. It's because this is how they work. They speak and communicate through signs and symbols, like Confucius said, who is likely one of them, but the saying holds weight still today. Signs and symbols rule the world, not words or laws. I thank you for listening to today's show. Remember, if you have a rose garden, it doesn't mean you're satanic. If you happen to give a girl roses for Valentine's Day, doesn't mean you're an occultist. Just understand how they use these symbols and what they mean to them, and that's why you see them. And it's not a thing of randomness when they're placed in videos. They're placed in movies. That's how they work. That's how they operate. Again, I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.